Amigos, welcome to the show. Yo soy Adriana Gallardo y estoy muy, pero muy feliz porque el día de hoy we have a very, very good topic. So for all of you women that are watching, go get your man. And if you're a man, go get your woman. And if you don't have anybody, still stay tuned and take notes because you never know when you're going to need this. And I'm specifically excited about this topic because the number one reason why people fail in relationships is because of trust, because of cheating, because of depression, and understanding each other. And all of that comes from disconnection, from lack of communication. But we all heard that or know that for some reason. And today, I'm really excited to share with you that I have an expert. And this is the lead relationships expert from RISE Programs. And his name is Richard Martinez. Richard?
Hey, thank you, Adriana. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you.
I want to first thank you for not just this show, but for everything that you do for the community to empower women. And that's why I'm so passionate about being a part of this, because I know it's going to have a lot of impact on a lot of relationships that are struggling.
Well, let me tell you guys, I have seen this guy lead and train and work with couples for over 15 years. And with a very, very high success rate. So that's amazing. And that's why I want you here today to share con toda la gente, because everyone suffers from this.
Yeah.
We all have, this is something that impacts our lives.
True.
And our families.
Yes.
and our jobs and everything we do.
You're right. Like when you're in a relationship and it's not going well, like, you have a fight and, you're fighting, you're stressing, there's things going on at home. It impacts everything. It impacts your energy, your health, how you're doing at work, your production, how you're dealing with your kids. So the health of your relationship, it really impacts everything in your life. So I'm really glad you're doing this topic.
Good, yeah.
And you know what? There is this thing that is the biggest, because you gave all these different issues of like it's trust, it's cheating, what you said, depression, and these are all like symptoms. These are not the real problems.
Okay.
And that's what I want to talk about, because a lot of times we get caught up in these things. We're like, oh, it's because, he just doesn't talk. My man, he just doesn't talk. He doesn't share things, and it's just so frustrating.
And then there's some men that believe that, and they're like, well, yeah, I'm not a talker.
You knew this when you married me.
Yes.
So what do you expect? This is just how I am. This is how I always been. This is how I grew up, and it's just how it is.
They justify themselves.
Yeah. So and because of that, we don't learn these new things, and it causes these issues in the relationships, and that is like the start of something bigger where you start to create disconnection. Right, and then because of that, all this mistrust comes. You start to get suspicious.
Of course.
Of like, hey, well,
why
what
isn't
happened
he
to
talking
you?
to me?
How come you feel distant?
Yes.
You seem distant. What's going on?
Or they're watching TV all day.
Or
and
now
you walk by and it's like you don't exist.
Yes, or if there's disconnection, you start to like, who are you texting? Or who are you following? And there's all this suspicion comes up. Yes. Why? Because there is this distance. There is a disconnection in the relationship, and that is the real issue.
But wow, when does that happen?
What do you mean, what does it happen?
When?
When? It happens all the time. See,
when in the relationship, because you start a relationship, you either get married or decide to live your life with someone, and you're thinking, okay, we're going to build a good, strong relationship here, and then when does that happen, and when to know that's even coming?
It really depends on the relationship. You know how like people talk about the red flags.
Yes.
Right. See, but this is the thing. If a lot of times men get into a relationship and they see the red flags, they see these things, they're like, I don't really know about that part, but because they are lonely, because they are they just need love. They're starving for love. They want connection. They haven't been in a relationship, or a lot of women, they're maybe over 30 and they feel like their clock is ticking.
Like, se me va,
like,
ya se me va el tren, dicen.
Yeah, that's how they feel. So a lot of times they get into these relationships because of that, because they have this need for connection and they're willing to compromise, different morals, different values that they have in order to get their needs met.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wait. I mean, say that again.
Okay, so we have needs.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm not saying like me and a lot of times like men, we say, oh yeah, I have needs, I need sex. I'm not talking about that. Like we as human beings, we have needs, all of us.
Okay.
And one of the biggest needs is that feeling love, feeling connected with somebody.
Feeling accepted.
Feeling accepted, feeling
Love.
important, feeling
Yeah.
like you're the only person in the
Feeling
universe.
important is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And when we don't, we need it. Okay, it's a need.
Okay.
And you can have a value of like, I would never cheat. I'm not a cheater, right? You can have that kind of value. I'm not a cheater.
Okay.
I'm against that. I've been taught against that. But you have this need of this connection and this love. And a lot of times you're in this relationship where you're not getting it. And a lot of times people get so vulnerable because they have this need and they're starting for this love. They're willing to compromise.
Richard, are you excusing the cheaters?
No, I'm just telling you the why. Okay, this doesn't give you a reason. This gives me
Hey.
right reason. Cheating is not okay.
No.
But we need understanding of why. Because if you don't have clarity of why, how are you going to change it?
So you're saying that you don't even think about cheating, but when this need isn't met, then you're willing to even go that way.
Yes.
Even at the cost of your own values.
Yeah, you're willing to get away from your values in order to get that need
But
met.
why not just get a divorce?
You can, but a lot of times people, they have families, they have kids, they have this image that they want.
They want to
this
be the perfect family.
Yeah. Or they're that's the way they are brought up. You don't divorce. Like, a lot of old school, families, like you don't divorce, you deal with it, you suck it up, and people become roommates. I've dealt with a lot of couples who they're actually living in different rooms.
Yeah.
They don't sleep together anymore. And that's just, they just learn how to live with it. It's like, I tell a lot of my clients, it's like, have you ever had a rock in your shoe? Have you?
Yes.
Okay, when you have a rock in your shoe, what do?
Me la saco.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, right?
Claro.
Like, you're not gonna learn how to just like, oh man, I have this rock in my shoe, so I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna learn how to live with it, and it sucks and it hurts, but I'm just gonna learn how to live with it. And this is what a lot of couples do when they have issues in their relationships. They know their problems. They know that they don't like it. It's a rock in their shoe, and they don't like really face the issue, so they just learn how to live with it.
Maybe they don't feel good enough.
That's another.
Maybe they feel like no one else will take them.
Yes, true.
Man, that
So-
sucks.
But look, so again, we have to realize that we have these needs that we need to get met, and if we don't have certain needs met, we're going to be willing to compromise or willing to just go with any man that makes you feel tingly, or this guy that looks handsome but they're not really in alignment with what you want for your future. But because they give you that attention right there and you're starving for it, you're willing to compromise, even though you saw those flags.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
makes a lot of sense. I'm thinking of people I know
You are?
that have this so-called, or like the girls' night out or the men's night out.
Okay.
And they just, they just make up these names. And I believe that's just an excuse to run away
So
and
let's start-
to give themselves that space to probably, have that need met.
Let's talk about that. So even in relationships, there's different needs that you need to feel connected in. And of course, we know like when you're coming into a relationship, you're getting into a relationship with somebody who has a whole different background. Like they have a whole different upbringing, they have different beliefs and definitions of what a relationship should look like, of what love is, of what communication should look like. And we've been, if we think about like we've been brought up by our parents, right?
So we learn from them.
We learn from them. And even as a child, like when there's conflict in their relationship, we're watching. Like even when we can't talk, okay, we're looking at their faces of like, oh, that's how you deal with conflict. Oh, when this happens, that's what you do. So we start to get programmed of these things of like, okay, when there's a problem, I'm either gonna I'm gonna close up and I'm just gonna shrink and I'm just gonna avoid it. I'm not gonna
I'm
talk
just gonna
about
take
it.
it.
I'm gonna hide.
Or like kids that have witnessed their mother get beat up, and like the girls learn or think that that's okay.
Yeah.
And they go on in life and getting beat up and they just take it.
True.
Or the niños that grow up, they become men and then they do that and they think it's okay.
Yeah. Or
Wow.
the men is watching their father being aggressive with their mother. Right? And so that's what they're learning. So later, even though they don't want to, like even though I've had a lot of people who they have this like an anger, like a hatred, like a pain towards their father. because they beat their mom.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of these guys, what they end up doing, they focus on what they hate about their dad, but because they focus and they behold that so much, they actually become it. Like another example, like there's like these kids, right? The young kids, the generation these days. And then there's these rappers out there, right? And they're kind of like idolizing them. They're really excited. They love their music, and they're just keep beholding them. They keep watching them. They're listening to them. And so it's actually programming them. And if you notice, they'll actually start to dress like them, start to talk like them, start to walk like them, want to do things like them. So you actually become what you behold. So there's a lot of people who have this hatred towards, it could be their mom or their dad or anybody. But because they're constantly focusing on them, they actually begin to become like them, and they find themselves doing things that they know they don't want to do, and they don't know why.
Yes, I have seen those cases too.
So this is why we need to get clarity on these things of like, why do I keep doing those things that I know I shouldn't be doing in my relationship? I know it's not healthy, but why do I keep doing those things? And then the things that I know I should be doing to help my relationship.
Right.
Why don't I do
But
those things?
sometimes we are selfish. And we think like,
Sometimes?
well, you need to love me first. Or you need to do this for me first.
Yes.
Or if you don't do this for me, then I won't do it for you.
Look at selfishness. That is like the main thing that kills relationships. That's the main thing. Because if you think selfishness it's about me. It's me. It's about what I want, when I want it, how I want it, and who I want it with.
But
it's about me.
We are like that. Women
Like what?
are like that.
Like what?
Sometimes, we're spoiled and we want the man to do things for us.
Sure.
Even though we take care of our man, we take care of our families.
That's different. See, but right now I'm talking about someone who is selfish. You said, yeah, we can be like that, but then you said, but we take care of our men and we take care of our families. So that's a good exchange. I'm talking about selfishness where it's all about me. It's like, you need to talk to me how I need to talk. We need to do things that I like. We need to go places where I like to go. You need to watch the shows.
And women do that too.
Do what?
Like the man will ask, and I've heard this from my girlfriends. The man would ask, what do you want to eat? And we tell the man, I don't know, whatever you want. And then he picks a place, and then we don't want to go there. So yes, we do that.
And then even with that starts to create little disconnections.
Yeah,
and then next time it's like, where do you want to eat? What does the guy say?
You pick.
Like they already know in their mind like where it's gonna go. Like it doesn't matter what the heck I freaking pick, you're gonna not want what I pick, right? So at the end of the day, the guys start to like kind of give up. Like, you know what? Whatever you want, hon, like whatever you want to eat. And inside their mind, they're thinking, it's because whatever I say right now, you're not going to want it anyways. So, let me just go with what you're going to say because I don't want to fight and ruin the day.
And then we think, man, you don't have any ideas ever.
And then there's more disconnection.
Yes.
And then now the woman is feeling like, man, I'm with this guy who has no ideas. He's boring. He's not really leading. And women want a man who takes initiative and gets things done and will lead you sometimes where you feel like protected, you feel led, but then other times you want to feel in control, like you're in leading. There's like, you want both.
I can tell you, and I'm going to speak for all women out there, that us women, we are attracted to men that inspire us. We have to admire that guy for something.
That's not what I've seen. That sounds really nice, and maybe that's true for you, but what I've seen for a lot of women, they get attracted to what? Bad boys.
I've seen that too.
Okay, but why?
Bad boys.
Yeah, they get attracted to bad boys, the rebels, the ones that, why? What is it about that women are attracted to? Let me ask you, since you're a woman.
Oh, I know, because
Why?
they want to feel protected.
Okay, what else?
They want to feel like, okay, this man is going to defend me. He's there for me. Like,
Yes.
just protection.
What is a characteristic that one of those type of guys has that's attractive? It starts with the C.
There's a control.
No, confidence.
Confidence.
Right? These the bad boys, they have a level of confidence, right?
Yeah.
And that's
true.
attractive.
That is attractive.
It's attractive. So a lot of times women, they're looking for a relationship with a good man, and a lot of times we don't have really defined what a good man is, like what we're really looking for and how to see if they are in alignment with what you want. So then they just see someone who is handsome, or somebody who looks confident. They're a bad boy. They're able to speak their mind. They, if somebody looks at you, they're gonna be like, what are you looking at? It's my girl. And
then you're like, hey. Oh.
And a lot of times, because women don't know their own identity, because they haven't accepted themselves, and they don't have purpose apart from anybody else in themselves. They're willing.
Oh my God, ¿cómo que identity?
Yes. Look, these are 3 needs that everybody needs to have settled apart from, look, let me talk to you guys. Let me talk to you guys over here. Men and women, both of you, okay? If you're in a relationship already, okay, you need to figure this out quick, because if you don't, you're gonna end up breaking your relationship because of this. You're either gonna become codependent, you're gonna become needy, or you're gonna become somebody who is trying to control, and it's gonna ruin the relationship. And so for women, if you don't have this, you're gonna be willing to just compromise for anyone who comes by, okay?
Aceptar a cualquiera.
You're just gonna, whatever, you're able to compromise because you're not clear on these 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're single, perfect timing, because you need to get this clear before you get into a relationship, okay? You ready?
Okay.
These 3 needs. Again,
Write it down.
Identity, there's acceptance, and purpose. These are 3 needs you need to get met by yourself, apart from anybody else, apart from your parents, apart from your kids, apart from your work, apart from your partner relationship, your marriage. You need to get this clear. Who the heck are you? Who are you? You need to know who you are not. You need to know your strengths, your weaknesses. You need to know who you are at your core. What are you afraid of? What makes you come alive? What are your dreams? To know you apart from anybody else. You have to know that.
So that you're not depending on this one guy to make you happy?
Yes. Yeah, otherwise it's...
Or you're not
like
saying,
everybody
I'm
says.
so-and-so wife. I'm his wife.
Or here's my other half. Or here's my better half, right? And we're not to be like half and half in a relationship. I'm going to be whole. I need to be who I am.
I love that.
And then you be whole. You be powerful in who you are as a woman, because you know who you are. You've accepted yourself. So you have this sense of confidence. So you don't need my acceptance. It's, of course, me as a man, like if we're in a relationship, I'm going to give that. But you don't need it. You're not going to freak out if you don't have it. And it doesn't mean that you're just going to take it if you don't get it either. Because a powerful person, okay, this is the difference. There's powerful people and there's powerless people. Powerless people are allowing what other people are doing or not doing going to determine what they're going to do. They react to people and circumstances.
Okay.
A powerless person.
They blame. I call them the weak people.
They blame.
Yeah.
They blame, it's because you push my buttons. It's because you talk to me that way, and you know not to talk to me like that. So when you talk to me like that, it gets me mad, so it's your fault. That's a weak person. That's somebody who is a powerless person, because they are allowing the other person going to determine what they're going to do. It's like they give them this control. Like, hey, it's because I gave you this control, put it in your hand, and you push these buttons to make me mad. But my question is always, why do you have buttons in the first place?
Ooh.
Why do you have buttons in the first place? And the reason you have buttons is because you don't have these 3 needs met. You don't know who the heck you are.
Identity.
So you're trying to get your identity and your acceptance and your purpose from this person now, and they're not going to be stable all the time. They're not going to always give you what you need. But now you're expecting it and you're needing it, but now when you don't get it, what happens? What does it feel like?
You fall apart, you feel depressed, you feel lonely, you feel like not good enough, like you start doubting yourself.
Yeah, and then what kind of behaviors does that create? So you start to feel that, those are emotions, but then how do you act? What does it come out like?
I'm mad, I'm demanding, I can cheat.
And then what does that do to the man? If you start to get mad and demanding, how does the man react to that?
He gets defensive.
He gets defensive.
And doesn't pay attention to you.
Now there's this disconnection starting to happen. So look at it, with those 2 types of people, there's powerless people and powerful people. And with that, it creates 3 types of relationships that you can create from those 2 groups. You can have 2 powerful people in a relationship, which is ideal.
Okay.
You can have 2 powerless people in a relationship, which is the most toxic relationship you can have, right? Because both people are needy. They're depending on the other person to make them happy, and depending on the other person to make them feel good. And it's going to create a big mess, a lot of problems.
Yes.
And then you can have a codependent relationship where you have 1 powerful person and 1 powerless person. And a lot of times this is how relationships start. You'll have 1 powerful person, right? It can be the man or the woman, either way. and they know who they are. They've accepted themselves, and they have purpose. They're doing something with their lives, right? And then you have somebody else come, man or woman, and they're powerless. They don't really believe in themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't have any direction. So then when they're around this powerful person, it's very attractive, right? So it's like, wow,
Okay, yeah.
you're amazing. You're
I
like,
can see
wow.
that.
And it's starting to meet these needs that they should already have met by themselves.
Yes.
Right? But then look, so they're like, wow, like you're just so amazing. They even start to tell them, man, like I love your energy. And that the powerful person likes to hear it. Of course. Anybody. So they're like, thanks. And then they give words to encourage them and they lift them up, right? And then they feel good about that. And then there's a connection that's starting to happen there because this person feels like the hero and this person feels like, oh, my savior. And now you have this codependent relationship starting to develop right there. You have a powerless person who is depending on the powerful person to make them feel good about themselves. And then they start a relationship that way. And then after, 6 months, a year, for the powerful person, it kind of gets
boring.
And like,
exhausting.
You're sucking the life out of me.
Yes.
Like, man, like, what are you going to do
Like
now with your life? And it was fun at first, it felt good to be the hero, but like, come
Pero
on.
ya sí.
Right?
Get a life.
And it starts to create disconnection. And then, like I've heard this a lot, okay, the man will start to, like, let's say it's the man this time, okay? So then now they're at the workplace and they're working, right? And the wife is at home and they're at late nights and there's, these women in the office and he comes across this powerful woman who knows who they are, who has this sense of confidence. And they start to get attracted to that. And then they start to remember, because at first, remember, they're looking at maybe they saw the red flags when they started that connection, but they started to just ignore it, right? But now that they're feeling something new with somebody else,
like,
now they're starting to focus on all those red
You're
flags.
like, that's possible. I can find
Yes.
a powerful person.
And then I'm gonna start seeing all the problems in my relationship, and I'm gonna begin to empower it and be like, it's not even gonna work anyways. And then I start to feel more attracted to this person. And
Which
then
will justify the cheating.
they say a couple nice words, and then like a little flirt, like a little, oh, you have something on your hair. Little flirt starts to happen, right? Little things start, and they create connection there, and they end up having an emotional affair because it feels good. Maybe this woman also feels connected, emotionally, because women are emotionally rich, and they need to feel connected emotionally. So they start to have this emotional affair.
That's a lot of work for a relationship.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
This is the thing. Like, if you want,
I'm already getting mad. I want to go look for those women at work that are flirting with these guys. That they need to go back to their wives. So what can we do? How can we wives or girlfriends or
that's what I'm saying.
I'm speaking on behalf of the women. Because there's
first,
a lot of us that work really hard. That we have to take care of our kids, our family, and our diet, and we want to work out, and we're we're the driver, and we're the teacher, and
doing everything.
And then on top of that, you want us to go home and be like, okay, hon, how am I gonna connect with you tonight? And then if not, then you're gonna go cheat on me? No, fíjate, no, ni madres.
Of course not.
No.
So this is why we need to first start with the basics.
You need to teach us how to connect and fast, right, girls?
Let's start with the basics first, and then we can get into, okay, what can I do now? Okay, because I was talking about these 3 needs that need to be met. If you don't have these 3 needs met, I can give you all these practical things of what to do, but it's not going to last. It's going to be temporary.
So you told us identity.
You need to know who you are.
Okay, next.
Okay, once you know who you are, you need to fully accept who you are.
Okay.
Fully accept, like the good and the bad.
Love yourself.
Everything.
Love yourself.
The flaws, but look at how powerful this makes you, though, when you fully accept yourself and you know yourself. So would you say that you know who you are?
Yes.
Would you say you fully accept yourself?
Yes.
So when somebody comes and sees a flaw or a mistake and they tell you, do you react and get mad at them?
No.
Why not?
Because I know that I might be like that.
That's a powerful thing. So now you become somebody who is really unoffendable.
Yes.
And because you fully accepted yourself, you don't need somebody else's acceptance.
Okay.
It's nice when you get it.
How do you accept yourself, though?
Well, you have to know who you are for it. If you don't know who you are, you can't accept it.
You just have to love yourself so much, respect yourself.
Yes.
And be like, you know what? I love myself regardless of how much you love me.
Yes.
I love
By
me.
yourself.
I
Yes.
respect me.
Yes.
I honor me.
Yes.
So if you love me, good. But if you don't love me, bye.
I'm still
bye
good.
bye.
Either way, I'm good.
Okay.
That's a powerful
And then
thing.
the third is
It's purpose.
Purpose.
You have okay. You know who you are. You've accepted yourself. Now, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you really bringing?
Like your
to-
dreams.
Yeah, like you have to have clear goals of knowing where you're going, why you're gonna go there, how you're gonna get there. Like this is a part of your purpose, and what do you have in your strengths and the core of who you are to bring to the table of what you're doing, whether it's in the relationship, in the work, in your home. What are you contributing?
Are these goals? Do these goals have to be the same goals as your husband?
No.
So you can have different goals.
You can have different goals.
How does that doesn't break connection?
It can, if you don't communicate about them.
Okay.
If you don't understand and give each other that space to be each other, who you are and who I am, and communicate like, hey, these are my goals. And even though they're not in agreement, this is what I want to do. And you start to open that communication so there's a support, there's an agreement. Okay. So it doesn't mean you need to be in like, we're doing the same thing, but there needs to be openness about it and an agreement about where we're going.
And you also have to be interested in what your significant other is doing.
This is a whole other topic here. Okay.
Another topic for another show.
Let's get into that.
Oh, okay.
Because it goes with the practical thing of how to create connection to prevent, the affairs in the office, to prevent cheating, to prevent, that disconnection, to prevent divorce. Like the answer is connection. The main problem, we can talk about, abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. We can talk about cheating. We can talk about, all these different things, but those are not the problems. Those are symptoms of something else. And it doesn't give an excuse or reason, but we have to understand that that's coming from somewhere. And the main thing is disconnection in the relationship.
Okay.
So if you want to prevent those things, if you want to create a healthy relationship, it's not about, I can't let him cheat. Or who are you looking at? It's not about protecting like that.
Oh my God, no, that's a nightmare.
It's freaking tiring.
Yeah.
It's tiring and it's not gonna last.
Of course.
Okay? So instead of focusing on all the symptoms, because that's not the real problem, you need to figure out what the real problem is, which is disconnection. So now I need to focus, not on all these, all of the things that it's not really what it's really about. I need to focus on how am I gonna connect purposely, intentionally, consistently with my partner. How? What makes them feel connected to me? And this is where we go back to the main thing that you said, is that selfishness.
The selfishness.
The selfishness. Have you ever heard of the golden rule?
Yes.
What is it?
Treat others the way you like to be treated.
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys heard that, right? Like it sounds really good and nice, but let's really think about what we're saying. The golden rule. Like you need to treat others how you would want to be treated. I'm going to treat others how I would want to be treated. I'm going to do it how I want to. It's selfishness.
Why?
Because what if you don't want to be treated that way?
What do you mean?
Okay, let's say
I don't want to be treated what way? Like the way you would want to be treated?
Yeah, let's say in a relationship. Say the woman or the man is very affectionate. And they like touch. They like to hug, they like kisses, they like cuddle, and they just like the affection. I'm not necessarily talking about the sex part, like that can be a part of it, but just affection. They're affectionate, they're touchy and feely, right?
Okay.
So one person in the relationship, and this happens all the time, when I'm counseling different couples, there's one person who is really touchy and feely, and there's the other person who is not.
I got you.
Okay, so if we use the golden rule here, how's that gonna work?
That's not going to work.
I'm going to treat you how I want to be treated. So I want to be touchy and feely, but you don't.
No, there's people that don't want to be touched.
Okay, so if I use the golden rule there, I'm going to be touching, feeling you, and you're like, I don't like that. That's not what really makes you feel loved. That's not what makes you feel understood and connected.
And not only that, you're sending a message that you don't love the other person.
How?
By not letting them touch you.
Yeah,
that's
the other person, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Now they're feeling rejected. And now they're putting all their energy of like, I'm loving you, I'm showing you, and it's not there. It's
and you don't
not
even
how they
take
receive
it. Oh my God.
And that's just one example. Like there's people who like to go out. Like this is very common in relationships too. There's one person in the relationship who likes to go out. They're very social. They want to go and go to clubs, go to party. Maybe it's not necessarily party, but they just need to go and be around people They need to be stimulated and talk to other people. Like it's
But if
it's
you're
important
married,
to them. I'm not saying going and partying to clubs, but they just family parties, or just go out and do something. They want to go out, even if it's with the partner. They want to take their spouse. They want to take them to go do something.
and then the other person wants to just to be at home, watch TV, be with the kids. Well, yeah, but sometimes you were tired.
Yes.
Sometimes you're tired. You want to be home.
Sometimes, and sometimes that's okay.
And that's why it takes understanding too.
Sometimes it's not okay. Sometimes it is okay. And this is why you need to have communication and protect that connection in your relationship.
So relationships are hard.
It takes freaking hard work.
It takes a lot of work.
A lot of understanding, patience. You have to overcome things in yourself. You have to take responsibility for stuff. So going back to that, it's that selfishness. Like I want to, treat other people how I want to be treated. That begins to create this connection already. Because if you start to think, this is what I would like, this is what I would want to do, so I'm gonna do it for them. And that's not what they want. So you really need to kill selfishness, turn down the noise of self, not make it about you. And I'll say this, like I'll speak to the men, specifically to the men. Like as a man in a relationship, okay, if you really want your relationship to do well and you want your girl to feel loved and to feel good, right? Because when she's happy, it changes everything and you feel good, right? So you as a man, you need to understand your main responsibility is to have your partner's heart at peace. Like to have them at peace, for them to feel secure and protected and connected. You're providing the needs that they have. You're doing that intentionally and consistently. When you do that, you freaking win. And they'll be inspired, they'll admire you, and that's going to prevent so many problems. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect.
And a lot of times, us women, we just want to vent. We don't want men to come and tell us or give us the solution to our problems. Sometimes we just want to go and vent because we got it. We know what to do. Okay. Sometimes we just want to sit next to you and tell you, hey, hon, I have a bad day, or the kids this, or this happened at work. And we don't want the man to lecture us or to tell us.
To treat you like a project, to fix you.
Yeah, or sometimes the man is, watching TV and they're like pretending to, pay attention to you and they're not. So that's totally right.
See, what you're saying is super important because this is key for connection. Okay, what you're saying at the foundation of what you're saying, you're really starting to bring up one of the main things about connection, and it's called understanding. Mm-hmm. Women want to feel understood.
Heard,
understood.
Yes.
Not just heard. Because you can talk and I can hear you and listen and not give you any feedback or interaction or really like show you and make you feel that I heard you and understood.
Okay.
Like I can just listen and hear you and be like, oh, wow, okay.
Oh, no.
So good luck with that.
No. You have to tell me what you think.
Okay, so then we need to, it's not just being heard.
But not always, right, girls? We don't always want to hear what you think. Sometimes we just want to vent.
How do we know when?
We're a little complicated.
How do we know when?
How do you know when? You will know. If you pay attention to your women, you will know.
How?
I don't know.
So understanding, let's get back to this, okay?
We don't even understand ourselves sometimes.
So men, this would be for the men. This is some good tips for the men of how to connect with your woman, okay? So they need to feel understood, not just heard, okay? And you need to understand what the difference is. So when you think about understanding, what is under their standing? What are they standing on? Where are they coming from? So when they're sharing, even if it's venting, even if it's stuff that you've heard before, or it's freaking annoying, you really don't care about it. It's about the neighbors so and so and their relationship, and this happens. Okay, sometimes men, they are not connected with what is being said.
A lot of times,
yes.
But how are they connected to the soccer game? How are they connected to other things?
Yes, and we'll get that to
that too. So they
just
don't want to connect with us.
Well, I can turn that on the women too, because that's a real passion for a man. Maybe that's something that's really important for him, but the women's like, oh, soccer. But that's another way that a woman could intentionally love their man.
How?
To go and sit down and watch a soccer game with them.
Ay, no, and then ¿quién va a lavar los trastes?
Because again,
¿Quién va a cuidar a los niños?
Okay, that's a different thing. But I'm talking about intentionally connecting with somebody and not making it all about you. I don't like soccer games. I think it's a waste of time. Well, it's not all about you. It's about the relationship and the connection that you have in that relationship. To protect the connection that you have. And in order to protect it, you have to be able to know what makes them come alive, what makes them feel connected, what makes them feel understood. So now we're getting to that understanding part now, right? So getting back to the understanding. So to feel understood, when do you feel understood? How do you know when you're like, oh, like, man, he understands me?
I feel understood when he is making eye contact, when he's paying attention to me, when his body language tells me that I'm important and he's not looking at his watch,
really good,
checking the time,
yes,
or trying to see, you know, just pay attention to us.
So that's tip one, right? That's super good. So when you're going to connect with them, okay, men or women, you need to give them full attention. Put your phone down. Don't pay attention to the game. Don't pay attention to the kids running around.
Put your phone down. That's a good one.
Fully,
a lot of times we're like,
It's to fully.
Yes.
Fully give attention. Like they're the only person, even if there's people and there's chaos all around, you're fully engaged with this person in front of you because you care about what they're going through. You have a genuine, love for this person. And
what if you get one of those women that are drama? Because I've heard men complain about that too.
Same thing.
But us women, like, come on, stop the drama. Stop being a victim. Sometimes we just want to go in, it's because you did this and you did that. And then we go in circles and we're not.
Okay, again, the drama, it's a symptom. They're being drama, why? What are they? It's because of this. No, they're drama. I'm a victim. What are they looking for? Attention. They're looking for connection. They're looking for love. So again, if you want to prevent drama, having a woman that is drama and talking about, it's because they're lacking something somewhere. There is a disconnection somewhere. And it's your job, instead of focusing on the symptoms and reacting to it, because you're a powerful person, right? You don't allow other people who are going to determine how you're going to act. So you begin to want to get understanding. You want to start to connect with them because that's going to prevent all the drama and all the stuff that irritates you. So again, full attention, right? Like you said. And then there's a gift. Okay, this is something you need to know, men. You give the gift of interruption. This is where like, What do you mean the gift of interruption? When you're talking to your partner and they're sharing information, whether it's drama or it's real deep, like important stuff that they're sharing, and they're sharing it with you, you want to give your full attention. Yes, you're open. You can even do like the mirror technique where you have the same kind of posture and energy, not exact, but to make them feel safe and comfortable, right? And as they share, you give the gift. They share some information, you say, hold on, so what you said is, and then you rephrase what they said, or you can stop and interrupt them, give them the gift, and say, wait, what did you mean by that? Oh, I mean this. And then it shows them that you're really engaged with the with the communication that you're having there with the topic.
And that's a real conversation.
It's a real conversation.
That's a real conversation.
So you give the gift of interruption. And as you do that, they begin to see like, oh, you're paying attention, right? Like you really care. And then from there, that's where you start to create the connection. And if they're sharing like problems, don't just go to fix it. You ask, how can I help you with this? Is there something that I can do to support you in this? You ask a question, you don't assume. And this is where they're going to tell you, no, I just wanted to vent.
Yeah.
Then you're like, all right, cool, thanks, back to the game. Or they say, yeah, actually, can you help me with this and this and this? And this is where you show your support. You're going to get extra points there, and that can, end up with rewards later in the bed or other things, but that's creating connection. So connection is super important in relationships, and there's specific areas.
Okay, yeah, I want you to share that. So everyone, pay attention. Go get a pen and a notebook, and go get your man if you still haven't. He's about to give us the 3, how many types of connections?
There's 7, but I want to just focus on a couple.
Okay.
Because, we can do a whole course on this stuff, but I'll tell you the 7 just so you know what they are. But at the end of the day, we want to focus on something here. So I don't know if I can stand up here, but so there's 7 areas. So above here, there's the spiritual, there's the intellectual. This is the way to remember. Spiritual, intellectual, emotional, your heart, emotional. Think of your abs like physical. And then a little bit lower, what is it? It's sexual, right? And then think of your legs like you're gonna go out and be social. And then your shoes like you're gonna buy them, financial. So again, spiritual.
Espiritual.
Like the heavens, right? Spiritual, and then what is this?
Intelectual.
Intellectual. And then you have
Emocional.
your heart, emotional, and then you have your abs, which is your physical.
Oh,
physical connection.
Oh, okay. Conexión física.
And then you have the sexual, and then you have your legs, like being social, and then your feet being financial. Those are 7 different areas that we can intentionally create connection in to strengthen the relationship.
Okay, and you're gonna share 3 with us.
I'll share
today.
you 3.
Okay.
So which 3 should I
Write
go
this
here?
down.
So here's a
what
fun
are
one.
the most important ones? Because I mean, you see couples almost every day. What do you see? Without telling us their names, obviously.
I'll start with intellectual.
Okay.
And because intellectual, intellect, like intelligence is sexy. And when you can carry a conversation, right? And not just so superficial, not just talking about facts, thoughts, and ideas, but where you can get deeper even into the emotional place and carry a conversation.
When you can have a deep conversation with your partner, then that's when you're connecting.
That's so important. I mean, if you don't have communication, there is no relationship.
Like, even if you don't know the topic, like some guys want to talk about, I don't know, physics or something that, I don't know,
All right.
just something that
What kind of guys are you hanging around with talking about physics?
Like any topic that I wouldn't be interested in.
Okay.
You still have to.
You don't have to do anything, but if you value that relationship, you're going to learn how to communicate and connect in those areas.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know, you can ask questions and show interest, because that's important to them, right? So intellectual connection. So you have to be able to communicate and connect intellectually and have communication about anything. That's number 1, because if there's no communication, there's no relationship, right? So another one we can talk about, sexual. Sexual is, this is a topic that a lot of people don't talk about, but is super important. Like, if you think about it, this is the most intimate and vulnerable you can get with somebody, where you are naked. You are this is who I am. This is who I am, flaws and everything. Like, that's the most vulnerable that you can get with somebody. And it's a very powerful thing to become one with your partner. And it creates such a strong bond. And like, those things in relationships that they're not like real big problems, but they're those little ones that are kind of irritating. Those little things that happen a lot, like those
that build up.
Look,
those little ones that build
up. That thing that you said the other day in front of them, or that look you gave me, or you forgot to. Those things that start to build up. Those little things can destroy a whole relationship, right? But the powerful thing is with sex, those little things. When you have sex, you become one with somebody like that. All those little things gone.
You sure?
Oh, it takes away so many of those little things that you're holding against that person, because this is a way for you to express and connect and bring
and forgive
and forgive and forgive more and forgive again. No, but it's a very powerful thing when
let's forgive.
But now look, but this is a problem though, because when I get into relationships, there is one person who has a higher sex drive than the other, and this happens a lot,
especially men. Men want sex all the time.
Women want affection, right?
We want to talk. A lot of times we just want to talk.
So look, that's key. So men, if you want more sex in your relationship, this is how you start to get it.
And then even after
you start
the
to
sex,
talk.
And even after the sex, you want to talk.
True. So okay, sex is super important for the health of your relationship. Okay, so you have to have open communication about how much do you really need? And you can have one person who'll be like, once a week is cool. And you can have the other person
you will ask that?
Yeah, you have to. This is important in relationships.
What if you just met the guy or the girl?
Well, usually by the time they're coming in front of me, it's, when you're just getting into a relationship.
Yeah.
When it's like new and you're dating.
Yeah. Well, you already know your identity. You already know your purpose and your acceptance.
Yeah, then you just talk about it.
Talk about it.
If you're already getting like intimate, you're already there.
Wow.
You have open, this is
Que
what
modernos.
you're going to start, this is communication. Like, if you start to hide those
What
things.
if he lies? What if he says, whatever you give me, honey?
A guy's not gonna say that. A guy's gonna know like all the time, or they're gonna have a number, like 7, maybe 2 times a day, or they'll have an answer.
Okay,
Right,
go
guys?
on, go on, go
All
on.
right. So back to the sex. So if you want more sex, men. This is how you're gonna get it. You ready? It's a secret. So close your ears here, okay? Because I'm sharing secrets here for you men. Okay, foreplay. Foreplay is super important. And a lot of times guys think foreplay is like, okay, it's time for bed. And then, okay, I'm gonna start kissing and doing, and women, they're not gonna want that. That's not where it starts. They have to feel emotionally connected first. So foreplay actually starts in the freaking morning, where how you wake up with them. The kisses you give them, the things you start to say, the text throughout the day, the connections throughout the day, the little things you're doing throughout the day. That's the emotional connection, the foreplay that you need, so that when you get into the home, that's already been created. You already have that, that thing going there, and then you can begin to, now you sit there, how was your day? You start to connect with them, right? See what has captured their heart through the day, what has stressed them out. You give the gift of interruption there, and then from there they feel connected, they feel understood.
Y vámonos.
And now they're warmed up. Now you start with the affection, and they're ready because they feel connected to you.
Not always.
A lot of the times.
Okay.
They're gonna get more sex for sure, if they start to do that. Would you agree? Right, men, women. Come on.
What do you say?
What do you say? Come on. Tell me what you say. So we talked about intellectual, talked about sexual. What's another one that you want to pick? So we have spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical, sexual, social, and financial. Emotional. Ooh, this is the hard one.
Men don't connect with us emotionally.
That's a lot of times, yeah. We as men need to introduce our mind to our hearts. And women need
I
to...
love that.
Yeah,
Say that again. Say
okay.
that
All
again.
right. So men need to introduce their mind to their hearts. But then women need to introduce their hearts to their minds.
No, we are connected.
Oh, yeah, all the time? See, women are
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Women are emotionally rich.
That's
a
why
good
we're
thing.
multitasking.
It's a good thing and a bad thing. As long as you have an emotions, and emotions don't have you.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes emotions have us.
Sometimes it's harder, especially once a month. It's harder. You become more vulnerable, more hormonal, right? A little bit more reactive and patient. It happens, and we have to understand these things, right? This is a part of the emotional intelligence in a relationship. You have to understand emotions. Emotions are freaking powerful, and they can either ruin and stress you out. They can ruin your relationship, or they can really create a very strong, powerful connection where you have this healthy, emotions that are going back and forth in the relationship, and it just feels amazing, right? So emotionally, men, we have a harder time to connect emotionally. We do. And we have to learn how to do that. So I want to encourage you men, because I know for me, the way I grew up, it's weakness. Boys don't cry. If you're not bleeding, it's not broken, freaking get up and suck it up, right? And a lot of times we grow up in a place where there's other men, we're out in the streets doing things, and we think showing emotion is weak.
Yeah.
And where I grew up, if you start showing that, you get beat up for it.
Los hombres no lloran,
No.
pero sí lloran.
So you have to be tough and strong, and when you bring that into a relationship, it doesn't work because they need to feel connected emotionally.
Yeah.
So we have to learn, a lot of times we've learned that to survive in our past, to become strong and tough and not show an emotion. Maybe that served us in the past, but now that you're in a relationship, it's no longer serving you. And you have to learn how to, share emotion and be vulnerable. And it's intimacy. See, intimacy is into me, you see. Intimacy. When I allow you to see what's really going on in me, and then you let me see what's really going on in you, now we have intimacy, and now that's where love is born. But this is why people don't do it. You see, that in that intimacy, yeah, you can get love, but you can also get hurt. You can have pain. So men are afraid to go there because they don't want to get exposed.
It's hard.
They don't want to share their weakness.
And it comes from when you're little.
True.
So that's another topic. It was a pleasure to have you here. I
Thank
love
you for
it.
having me.
I really, really enjoy it, and I hope you guys did too. You can find Richard at the information.
It's Richard Martinez. You can go to Rise Programs, my Instagram, Facebook. It's Richard Martinez. Follow me, do some comments, even right here. Tell me what you guys think.
So thank you so much, guys. Nos vemos a la próxima. Los quiero mucho y no se olviden, Adriana Gallardo, y denle, compártanlo. Chao.